Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Culinary Education Leaders, the virtual breakfast session's new education project. But what a great topic we have today. Culinary leaders, education leaders. Let me start that again. Culinary education leaders. Today, we're going to be talking to the people at Salem High School in Salem, Massachusetts. Uh, Chef Jeff, why don't you introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Jeff Stuart. I'm the lead culinary instructor at Salem High School in Salem, Massachusetts, also known as Witch City. So,
Mm,
I first of all, thank you so much for allowing me to take this opportunity and to kind of talk about what I am most passionate about. Quick little snidbit. I was born and raised, so to speak, in vocational education, which is what they called it back in the day. I went to Blue Hills Regional in Canton, Massachusetts. From then, I went to Johnson and Wales University, traveled the country, was very fortunate enough to work for some pretty high profile chefs around the country. I always prided myself and, kind of trying to learn as much as I can. So therefore I can give back to what was given to me, which is
thank you.
kind of key to what I believe in to instill within my students.
Thanks. Fred, say hi.
Morning, Fred Klashman, editor and publisher of Total Food Service. Looking forward to an interesting session.
Once again, I'm Larry Sashin. Chef Jeff, I did some research on your school, and it's not gigantic, but it seems that you've accomplished something that other schools haven't. Talk about the talk about the classes and the extracurricular activities that you've developed for those classes.
Perfect. Um, let's see. I teach for one, it starts off with exploratory. We have 10 different rotations, ranging from carpentry to automotive, obviously culinary. Those kids get about 5 days into each, area to see kind of what sparks their interest. Very fortunate enough that I have two other instructors with me, and we're kind of a popular shop. We're hosting about 100, or we have about 150 kids total in our program, which we are the largest program within the school and throughout a lot of other programs throughout the state. So once they go through like the introduction, we get the kids kind of fired up with cooking if they have a spark for just food. So that's kind of where it starts for me. Sophomore year is a introduction year, a lot of nice skills, cooking methods, just basic culinary education. They kind of dive deep into their junior year. The seniors, it's basically their show, their restaurant, their menus, their development. They are excited to finally kind of get to that, pinnacle where they can showcase what they have learned throughout the past two kind of intensive years.
Now, talk about those extra, the bistro, the food pantry, the outreach events.
So the like a lot of programs, they have a lot of restaurants within their school that offer from a wide range. A lot do buffets, some have little cafes, some have full-fledged restaurants. We try to go above and beyond within the restaurant, from napkin folds to white linen to, polished silverware, try to teach them kind of the higher end part of the restaurant business. Extracurriculars, there's a lot of opportunities for our kids, from after school events, huge community events that we just started getting into. If I might take a kind of disclaimer, is that this is my third year. I was kind of recruited from another school system to come in and revamp the program and head it in the right direction. So I've had the support since I walked in the door, from kind of building new classrooms to renovating, other culinary to expanding our culinary program. We have a second floor culinary program. We do have a cafe. We do have a bistro. We do have an after school kind of at night kind of offering students, different things to eat. A lot is free of charge because we have a partnership with Stop and Shop. That was kind of started over a year ago. Then it kind of went to the wayside for about 10 months. Finally, they reached back out. We, long story short, they donated quite a bit of money, $7,500, to be honest with you, for us to prepare meals for students in need because of the demographics we have within Salem.
So is the program housed in the high school, or is the program in a trade school? What's the environment?
It is a high school. We are definitely different. As I said, I'm a product of vocational education, where it was a regional school where we would have 1 week of academics, 1 week of shop, et cetera, et cetera. We are comprehensive. So therefore, the kids come in from math or English, and then they're full uniform and they're jumping right into the kitchen or kind of the curriculum that's planned for the day.
So when a kid's involved in a program like this, do they feel special? Do they feel, in other words, is this student that has this is this a vision to go into our industry, or is this an option to take a look at where does it fit, and what do you see with the kids in terms of mindset?
I would have to say both, where the kids, we have a portion of kids that want to become pastry chefs or butchers, etc. But we also have kids that just want to gain life experience. They all realize they're going to have to move out of their parents' basement, and they're going to have to cook for themselves one day.
So it's about life skills as much as it is about a vocation.
That's probably one of the most key points for me, is to teach them life skills to take care of themselves within their future. As you know, the hospitality industry is enormous throughout the country. I feel that, we all are a part of the hospitality industry within some point of our lives.
Okay, so let me ask you a question. So what percentage of those 120, did you say?
150 right
150. Now. What percentage of those 150 kids either go right into a restaurant work or to higher learning in the culinary area?
I'd say roughly, since I just walked in the door, if you will, about 10%. A lot go on to post-secondary. We do have co-op opportunities for senior year. The kids are allowed or can apply for a co-op opportunity within the industry. So therefore, they don't come to class. They go right out into industry. They're working for different chefs or hotels.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about an individual class. What is the size of the class? What's the demographics?
We are primarily Hispanic. And then it kind of branches off to there. The class size is roughly about 25 to 28. However, again, we have 3 different instructors or 2 other instructors, and we get to break them up. Fred, I'm sorry I didn't answer some of your question, which freshman year kids, it's kind of, I hope I get into culinary, because we do have a wait list. So therefore, I don't like to turn away any student. With the demographics that we have, there are a lot of students that throughout that first summer, they might move away, they go to a different town, they go back to their own country. It all depends.
Okay. All right. So we have the demographic that it's Hispanic.
So do you teach the classes in English or in Spanish?
English.
Okay.
Which I have taken courses through the state where, they definitely suggest do not speak to them in their native language. Speak to them in English. Okay. And I have some students that do not speak any English at all. Mm-hmm. So it's definitely challenging. How do you communicate with those kids? I feel it's pretty natural for me, to try and, within the industry, you learn some Spanish, you learn
Of
some
course.
Portuguese, just to communicate kitchen talk.
Okay, so you say you have 25 kids in a class. How do you teach knife skills to 25 kids at the same time?
So our kitchen was redesigned prior to me. It is somewhat commercial setup. There's a few pieces of equipment that is missing, but we make do. Recently, we just took over. We just took over a hallway right outside of Culinary, and right now, my boss, he is part of. He was a carpentry instructor, so he just built a wall for me to block off the entire hallway. Therefore, focus on 25 kids having a French knife in their hand. It's try to take away less distraction. We've taken over the entire hallway, from fridges to proof boxes to, I have 6 8-foot stainless steel tables out there. I mean, it's quite the sight to see. I love taking pictures from the end of the table, focusing down on all the kids, just kind of what we say, locked in. There is no distractions. There's nothing on the outside that they're really thinking of. They are in the zone, if you will.
Okay. Fred, anything else?
Where do you see opportunity for these kids when they go from your program? What do you see as some of the sweet spots that they can move into?
I try to teach them, and I teach this right from freshman year. It's not coming into our program and becoming a chef or becoming a baker. We did start a in-house butchering program. As far as I know, it's the first in the nation at a high school level. From band saws to big cleavers. Butchering is a dying art, and as far as I'm concerned, because everything's prefabricated for chefs for a kind of time and labor saving. But when they find out that you can become a butcher at a local supermarket, and they're like, I can make over 100,000. I should go out, get some training under, a butcher for 3 to 5 years. And then I can be that guy or woman or, what have you. As well as obviously, I have a connection with a ice carving company. So therefore, I can incorporate other programs. They want a graphic designist, or somebody that is good with computers that can, a lot of ice carvings are all, it's less done with hand and it's
Right.
all electronic.
Yep.
So, but I like to teach them both ways, and, just for them to think outside the box, that there's so much more. Freshman year, we have them do this project of, the 150 types of, jobs that are within the culinary field itself, or 150 more from food styling. We really try to jump into it. We have frameworks that Massachusetts, has for us to follow. Those frameworks came up from professional chefs that really focuses on, what we think, the kids should learn. I feel that's great, but that's just touching the iceberg. We should do a deep dive into, so many other things that our industry is kind of known for, and, just for them to think outside the box.
Yep.
Outside,
And not everybody decides that they want to live in the kitchen.
Correct.
There's opportunities with distribution. There's there's all kinds of opportunity.
yes.
I want them to, I tell them the truth, being, having been in industry for many years, as a professional chef, I feel it's a grind. We, when you reach a certain level, or at least for me, within my career, yes, the money comes, yes, the, paper write-ups, TV, etc., but you're working 15, 18 hours a day sometimes without thinking. And, That's the
Yeah.
passion that I try to portray to my students, that it's like, I didn't think of, oh my God, I'm working 18 hours. It was just natural for me
Right.
because of the passion that I have for food.
I found after doing some research and speaking to you, I found that you're not only teaching students the nuts and bolts of the culinary industry, you're also teaching students what the culinary industry can give back to the community. Let's talk a little bit about your food pantry and your butcher shop.
Sure. I feel that, and I've always had the mindset, give back to what was given to you. And that's what I really try to instill in them. And I have, students that are, in their 30s now, and they have never forgot that bit of advice. So our community events, we have, Christmas in Salem. That's for, from a couple hundred to a few thousand, which just that alone incorporates so much of a professional chef. Do I guess on how many potatoes I need for 1,000 people? Or, now that incorporates mathematics. Now it incorporates so much. And when the kids see that, it's kind of the aha moment where they're like, wow, I didn't realize it goes this much into, doing an event like this. Community, it is very tight knit within Salem itself. And now that the community is figuring out, like, wow, they have a restaurant. The average price is $10, for something, for a plate that has, 9 different components to it. We're not that cafeteria where it's, put it at 12, 4 and, 8, like cafeteria style, not taking away from the caf, but we're just different. And, again, the opportunities are there for the kids. And as the program grows, the more we grow as a program. The butcher shop is something I started years ago, and I'm very fortunate and lucky to be given the opportunities that was given to me. That's why I feel giving back to what was given to me is so crucial to my career and to teaching our students.
Talk about some of the mentors who had an impact on you.
My high school chef, it started right there.
Yeah. Where'd you go to high school?
Blue Hills Regional in
Canton. Okay.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
I will shout out Chef Hanrahan, or H as everybody knew him. It started there. Chef Andrea, Miss Carter, it was a well-oiled machine. Each chef gave you, a different glimpse. One was a little more lax, one was a little high pace, one was very strategic, which most pastry chefs are, and very methodical. Let's see, I went out west for a while to Arizona, and that's where I really was. That's where I worked 18 hours a day, as their apprentice. And that's where I got to really see what garde manger was about. That's where I got to work in a refrigerator next to a butcher that was from England, that was like mind-blowing of what he taught me. It was like, everyone's going to be fragile with the beef tenderloin. Yeah. Then all of a sudden he's like, here's 10 cases. I need them fabricated. And you're going to grind the chains to make burgers, within 2 hours. I'm like, I can never do that. It started off with about 5 hours. And then time I left him, we were at a high pace. Then one that really taught me how to market myself was Ming Tsai, which is a local celebrity chef, right. Multiple, shows on the Food Network. He's on GBH, kind of, he's kind of that guy, he gave me the opportunity to become his assistant pastry chef, which, I was going for a chef job, and he said, well, you have some pastry experience because you were in Arizona. What about becoming a pastry cook? And I'm like, pastry cook? It's like restarting my career over. Right. I was a chef. I know all these skills. And long story short, I saw the opportunity. I knew I could learn from him. I knew where his career was going. So I have to shout out Ming as well.
Terrific. So it sounds to me like that one of the things that comes from an education like this is the opportunity to develop a mentor relationship, and that's something that can follow a student through their career path.
To be honest with you, I have a young lady that is in her 30s, which now kind of ages her, and she's one of my old students.
Yep.
This was her dream job, to become an educator, and for some crazy reason to teach next to me, and which I am very humbled with her, wanting to go this career path and to see her passion. And I see a lot of things that she learned in high school that she still carries with her this day.
Mm-hmm. What about the ProStart program? Any involvement with that? Any thoughts on where that program is headed?
In short, yes.
Okay.
Again, I learned a long time ago, you pick one thing, you do it well, and you move on. So yes, we have a curriculum. Yes, we follow everything that we're supposed to be doing. Yes, we're teaching to what we're supposed to do. However, ProStart, yes, absolutely. We do serve safe. We offer serve safe handler, manager, which nationally accredited.
Mm-hmm.
We had 95% of our students pass the serve safe manager exam, which is, it's the same exam I take. I mean,
yep, pretty amazing.
It's not the, easiest test to take, but that's success to me. That is one thing that is, you focus on it, you do it well, we move on.
Well, I think what it really is a testament to is, when most kids look at tests, it's not in a positive vein. They don't care sometimes. To have performance like that says that there's motivation coming out of that classroom, that the testing is sort of a vindication and a proof of achievement that the program's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. When the kids come from English and math, and I would like to think I'm pretty good in math. As a chef, you have to be, period. Yeah. However, in high school, I was not good in math.
Yeah.
But when kids come in and you're teaching them about something they're passionate about, it just comes natural for them. And that's
a big component. The math is a big component that you can't do the project unless you know what it costs.
Because it's not education, it's learning.
Absolutely.
And they're not the same thing.
I guess I'm kind of old school. I'm a big writer, and everything's on Google Classroom now. Everything's typed. Everything is AI, etc. Yep. I want the kids to write. They write papers for me. Every other class, everything's online. Yep. And I want them to write. And it's not just to have them write, it's to have them gain the life skills that they're actually going to have to write one day without all the technology that they currently have.
You're still going to have to write a prompt. No matter how much AI is, you're going to have to write that prompt.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
It goes back to what Brian Connors said in the first EDU 1. These are kinetic learners. And if you're teaching them a course, they're not interested. But if you're doing it as part of a project like you have just illustrated, this sparks their learning because they need this one part to continue. Now we're getting near that time when time is our enemy. But Fred, you have one more question?
That flew by.
Yeah, Chef, role of competitive cooking in teaching. Does it have a place? Where does it fit?
Competitive, yes. I have a huge competitive edge to me personally.
Yeah.
I did a lot of competitions back in the day. We have competitions in school.
That's my question. Yep.
They get mystery boxes, and then I'll throw in some random, here's fluff. You have to incorporate that into your dish. And they're like, I have, a whole chicken. I have to I have to 8-weigh it. I have to, do 3 different cooking techniques. The kids get excited. because they want to outdo themselves. And,
Mhm.
ultimately they want to show their chefs like, hey, I got it. I understand, now I can open my fridge and cook dinner and not even look up anything online. They get it.
Okay. Before we go into our goodbyes, I want you to speak a little bit about your food pantry.
I apologize. There's like so many things that goes through, that go through my head. And this is what inspired me. It was just one day thinking of the food pantry, and I saw a need. That's where it started. And it wasn't a culinary need. It was a support and help the students in need. That is what it started with me. Then I was able, and what makes us different than any food pantry, which, by the way, we have an unbelievable food pantry in Salem. What inspired me was, let me turn it over to the students. Let them come up with the healthy meals that are cost effective. $7,500 is a huge amount of money, but as you know, I mean, it goes quick. When you make 300 meals, 500 meals, all at once, and every meal goes for those kids, I'm not going to turn kids away. If a kid's hungry, and yes, there's that kind of persona of culinary cook the food, it must be good. So it takes away from kids ordering DoorDash or whatnot. And the food pantry is deep meaning for me, just because I needed it when I grew up. Single family home, brother and sister. We had to do what we had to do at the time. I didn't know that we needed it when I was growing up, but mom, like, she didn't mind asking for help. And these students and families don't mind asking for help, to say, hey, on Fridays, I try to give the kids enough meals. They can throw it in the microwave and it lasts them throughout the weekend. It is humbling that these kids don't eat where their last meal is Friday lunch. It hurts to know that they're hurting. So it is right. It's like mind blowing, and it is deep for me.
Okay. Well, it has been a eye-opening show of what dedicated people concentrating on their school and their community at the same time can turn out. But before we go, Jeff, I want you to give that last bit of information, that one thing that sets Salem High School apart.
Push the boundaries. Never stop. That makes me close-minded, and that stops the learning for kids. And that's ultimately what it's about. It's not becoming a chef. It's becoming a human being, giving back, and ultimately learn how to cook for yourself and cooking great, healthy meals.
Okay. Well, thank you, thank you, thank you. It's been wonderful. Fred, have anything to say?
I think it's amazing we have people like Jeff out there teaching the next generation. Makes you feel good about where we're going.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so
Jeff.
much.
And
Thank you.
anybody that's listening to this, check out your local high schools. Check out the programs that are available to you. Well, we're going to be back next week. And until then, I only have two things to say. Everyone, stay positive, test negative, and we'll see you next week. Bye now.
Thank you, Chef.
Thank you
Bye.
so much.